Now welcome back my dear class 12 student. This is a class of BST and we are going through the chapter Consumer Protection and Responsibility. Now last day we will discuss about what are the different procedure to complain in a different consumer forum. There is a three-tier mechanism, actually consumer grievances or redressal three-tier machinery under the Consumer Protection Act 1986. That all we have discussed in the last class. Today we will say who can file a complaint. Who can file a complaint? Who can file a complaint? Now, a complaint before the appropriate consumer forum can be made by number one, any consumer. Any consumer can file a complaint on his her own and does not need the services of advocate or professional. So in that case, if you need a complaint against anybody, any seller, manufacturer or dealer or shopkeeper, means seller also actually. So there is no need to appoint a professional advocate. Okay, you can go to the different commission that is I discussed last classes, that is district forum, state commission, national commission. You can go by your own and you can make a complaint. Second, there is any registered consumer association. There is some registered consumer association is there. One of the suppose consumer is Consumer Education and Research Society, Ahmedabad. Okay. Now there is a different state, there is a different consumer association is there. They can file a complaint. Third, the central government or any state government. Any central government or state government can file a complaint against seller, dealer, manufacturer, producer. Now number fourth, one or more consumer. Sometimes what happens, there is a 3 or 4 consumer get together and they actually behalf of many consumers, they can file a complaint against the accused person or accused organization with having the same interest. Okay, having the same interest. Next, a legal hire or representative of a diseased consumer. A legal hire means suppose you are the legal hire for your father or mother. Legal hire will be their sons will be the legal hire. They can make a complaint against any seller, dealer or manufacturer. So these are the consumer, appropriate consumer can make file or make complaint. Okay. Now whatever the relief and remedies available for the consumer, what are the different reliefs and remedies available for the consumer under the Consumer Protection Act 1986? What are the reliefs and remedies available for the consumer as per Consumer Protection Act 1986. Okay, what are the different reliefs is available? Now, if the consumer actually is not satisfied about the genuineness of the complaint, it can issue one or more of the following direction to the opposite party. What are the different things, different relief available? If the consumer court is satisfied about the genuineness, if the consumer court is satisfied about the genuineness about the complaint, it can issue one or more of the following remedies or direction for the accused party. Now, first is to remove the defect in goods or deficiency in service. So, if there is any defect in a goods, then they have to remove the defective good, and if there is a deficiency in service, so the service provider should remove this deficiency. Now, second is to replace the defective product with a new one free from any defect. Second is you have to replace the defective product and a new product you have to give from, and that should be free from any defect. Third is to refund the price paid for the product. Now, whatever the price you have paid for the product, that should be returned back to you, or if you paid any charges for the services, and that is that if the services will be defective and deficiency and you are not satisfied up to the mark in the service, then the service provider should return back the money also. Now, number 4 remedies and relief is to pay a reasonable amount of compensation. A reasonable amount of compensation for any loss or injury suffered by the consumer due to the negligence of the opposite party, means seller or manufacturer. Okay. So, to pay a reasonable amount of compensation for any loss or injury suffered by the consumer due to the negligence of the opposite party. Now, one of the example of that, whenever Samsung Note 7 issued, Note 7 actually comes in the market and consumer is started to using it. So, there is some blast which happened of from this phone. So, what actually Samsung done? Samsung did actually, they actually return back all the product and replace it to the consumer. So, that will be the you have to do if the complaint actually make against you like that. Next is to pay punitive damages in appropriate circumstances. Punitive damages means large damages. Now, in the year 2001, in Faridabad Axis Bank, one case actually happened. That is, one person actually taken a loan from that bank, that is 67 lakh loan actually taken by this person against mortgage his property whose value is 50 lakh or not 50 lakh, just you can say that is 70 lakh was the value and his loan value was 67 lakh. Okay, but against his property he actually take this loan. But whenever after 5 years or 6 years, whenever they return back the loan, all the loan amount is completed with the principal and interest, then he actually demanded this property paper, but bank failed to give this property paper to that person who actually taken the loan. And that time that person actually go to the state commission, because you know that his value is more than 20 lakh, and make a compensation of rupees 80 lakh. Though their value of the property is 70 lakh, it make the compensation for 80 lakh. And bank have to, and court actually order that you have to pay this 80 lakh, because if you do not give back the property paper, it is very difficult for that person to sell the property anytime in the future. So there is a huge loss actually happen for that person, so that the bank should give him to the a punitive damage, that is a large amount of damage, that is 70 lakh, and that is actually happen. So anytime this type of complaint actually make, but large amount of damages actually happen, so appropriate circumstances, looking after appropriate circumstances, the commission, different commission, in that case state commission actually order a punitive damages amount to pay the who actually make this complaint. Now next is to discontinue the unfair or restrictive trade practices and not to repeat in the future. So if there is any unfair or restrictive trade practices actually happen, that sort court may be make a order to do not repeat in the future. Not to offer hazardous goods for the sale. Any goods which can hamper the health of the particular consumer, that goods should not sell, cannot sell by the manufacturer or seller. Another order they can give to withdraw the hazardous good from the sale. Even they can stop the making the product also. Okay. They can stop the making of the product if this product court actually thinks that it will be the hazardous for the consumer. To seize even the manufacturer of hazardous goods who actually produce the hazardous goods, the court can give the order to seize the manufacturer and to desist from offering hazardous services. Okay. To issue corrective advertisement. Court may give the order to issue the corrective advertisement to neutralize the effect of a misleading advertisement. So you cannot, seller or manufacturer cannot make the or cannot show the misleading advertisement, and court may order to correct the advertisement. That type of things happened few years before. The first when the cigarette advertisement was come in the paper, there is a no warning actually gives. Nowadays the court actually gives order in cigarette packet, as it is a injurious for product for the human, so you have to write the cigarette smoking is injurious to health, and 75% of the packet of this you show the injurious picture also. Okay, so that type of things actually happen. That is called court may issue corrective advertisement to neutralize the effect of misleading advertisement. Okay. To pay adequate cost, court may order to pay adequate cost to the appropriate party. Okay. If there is anything, the fine, court is fine, that is not actually satisfied by the who makes the complaint, then court can give the order to the accused party to pay the adequate cost to the appropriate party. Now to pay any amount not less than 5% of the value of the defective goods or deficient services provided to be credited to the Consumer Welfare Fund or any other organization, person, to be utilized in the prescribed manner. Now sometimes what happens, when the court actually gives the order to pay some amount for deficient service or defective goods. At that time, 5% of the value of this claim, the particular organization have to transfer to the consumer welfare fund or any other organization. Suppose if the total value of the compensation if 1 lakh rupees, then 5% of that, that is 5,000 should be transferred to the account of consumer welfare fund or any other organization as per ordered by the court. Why this type? What this type of 5,000? Why they actually need to transfer? Because so in actually doing this consumer hearings, there is lots of investment actually make, because there is a whenever the consumer file the complaint, so the filing charges is very less. So what from the money actually come? Money actually bearing by this court from this type of welfare fund, different organization. So at that time, whenever there is a court give order for any situation, for any defective circumstances, deficiency service, the total values 5% we have to transfer, the accused party should be transferred to the consumer welfare fund or any other organization or person to be utilized in the prescribed manner. So these are the some of the relief and remedies actually available for the consumer as per Consumer Protection Act 1986. Now next is there is a role of consumer organization and NGOs. Role of the consumer organization and NGOs is actually not in your syllabus in that time because of the to go in this pandemic situation. CBSE has deleted this topic, so I am not discussing about this topic. Now one thing that is only left in this chapter, that is ways and means for consumer protection. What are the different ways and means for consumer protection has? Now you just see. Ways and means of consumer protection. Ways and means of consumer protection. Now first is self-regulated by business. So first is there are various ways in which actually the objective of consumer protection can be achieved. The first is self-regulation by business. Number one is self-regulation by business. Self-regulation by business. So enlightened business firm realize that it is in their long-term interest to serve the consumer well, or socially responsible firm follow ethical standard and practices in dealing with their customer. So as per maintaining or sustaining the business as per long term, they have to maintain a quality product, not the hazardous product or defective product. They always look for a quality product to give the consumer. Even many firms have set up their customer service and given sale to readdress the problems and grievances of their consumer. Nowadays you can find, if you buy a less packet, just ₹5, there is you can find a consumer grievance number or complaint number. There you can complain, because they are want to maintain the quality product. If anything, if you found that is not good or that is damaged goods you buy, you just immediately complain or call this number, and if you complain that, then your product they can even send to your home also. Okay. So that type of actually that is called self regulation by business. They won't actually very cautious about the give to the very quality service and quality product to the consumer. And different customer service, even in case of mobile, you can, that is very common. Anytime you have actually face any problem from any service provider, so there is a customer care number is there. You just call and you can make your complaint. And sometimes they resolve, sometimes they do not resolve. Okay, but there is still there is a number. But before that, that is not happen actually. So second is business association. Second is business association. There is a different business association, that is like Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce of India. Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce of India, that is FICCI we call, and Confederation of Indian Industries, that is CII, have laid down their code of conduct which lay down for their members the guidelines in their dealings with the customer. Now these different types of business association, that is FICCI, CII, they actually make some code of conduct, and if any business organization who are the member of this FICCI and CII, they have to follow their code of conduct for this organization, actually codes of conduct, and according to that you have to provide or deals with the customer. Now third is consumer awareness. Now consumer awareness is also needed. Consumer awareness. Consumer awareness. Now, a consumer who is well informed about his right and the reliefs available to him. So, a consumer should know his rights and reliefs available to him, would be in a position to raise his voice against any unfair trade practices or exploitation. In addition to this, an understanding of his responsibilities would also enable a consumer to safeguard his interest. So the person, the consumer or customer who is actually know his right and who is knows his responsibility and well informed about that, that consumer can raise a voice or make a complaint against this type of different commission and get back there and protect himself or herself from this as per Consumer Protection Act 1966. Now number 4 is, so one point I also like to say as per consumer awareness. Now frequently nowadays you can see advertisement, that is from Jago Grahok Chago through multimedia, different TV, you can see in TV actually happen. That is also actually make you aware that you should know what are the different rights and responsibility of the consumer has. Okay. So that is called Department of Consumer Affairs. There is a department of government, that is Department of Consumer Affairs, has been undertaking campaign Jago Grahok Jago through multimedia awareness. So consumer also should be aware to protect themselves. Next is consumer organization. There is different consumer organization is also there. Consumer organization. There is a different consumer organization actually set up by different state. So play an important role in educating consumer about their rights and providing protection to them. Okay. So this consumer organization actually time to time actually make some actually what can I say, workshop, or nowadays that is very popular open air for consumer to make them educated and actually inform them to their right. So this organization can force business firms to avoid malpractices and exploitation of consumer. So as this consumer is very active, so that is actually helpful for the consumer also. Even consumer can go to this consumer organization. If they fear to make complaint by his own, they can go to their consumer organization. They also help this consumer nowadays. Number 5 is government. So government is always with the people. Government the government can protect the interest of the consumer by enacting various measures. For example, I have already told that is Department of Consumer Affairs actually undertaking the campaign Jago Grahak Jago through multimedia awareness, or there is a toll-free number anytime from 9:30 to 5:30 you can call for this purpose. The legal framework in India encompasses various legislation which provide protection to consumers. So there is various legislation actually made by the government that also can protect the consumer. The most important of this regulation actually the Consumer Protection Act 1986. So that act I have already discussed provide 3-tier machinery at the district, state and national level for redressal of consumer grievances. Okay. So that is the different ways and means through that consumer can protect themselves as per Consumer Protection Act 1986. And most important legislation actually government made, that is Consumer Protection Act 1986. So there are different legal protection act is here. Now next we will discuss about different protection act except the Consumer Protection Act. Other act is also in there for protection of consumer. Next we will discuss about that, and that will be the end of the chapter. For today that is all. Thank you.